Welcome, I'll be reacting to the UFO episode, Court Martial. This is a commentary, not a market substitute. Please support the original. Ooh, all the top brass is here. Wait, is Foster on trial? No.
The accused will stand.
What? There's no way.
They have found Colonel Foster guilty of the charge as stated. Under Article 183,
No.
the sentence is specific. The execution was fixed.
I'm sorry. What? They did not waste time. We are right into this.
No, that's all right. I'll call him at home.
Love the elevator lobby music. His hair looks different. Curlier. Aw, poor thing. He was just getting some sleep.
Oh, don't you ever sleep?
Hope I didn't wake you up.
Oh, sure.
I love their relationship.
Hold it.
He's like, you called me at 2 in the morning. What?
I've got an E alarm.
Are you all right?
An E-alarm? Is that bug?
It's a bugging device.
Oh,
Somebody's out to get us, Alec.
Henderson. I was just kidding.
I'm sorry, sir.
Don't worry, Miss Scott. Stopping runaway trains is not part of your job.
Aw.
Straker, this is a most unpleasant surprise.
Runaway train.
Yes, I'm sure.
I'd shake hands, but you know how it is. I can't bear to touch anything slippery.
Oh no. What did Jackson do this time?
Yours, I believe.
One to test your security.
And the real reason?
2 days ago, we had to squash a press report.
The information was never circulated. It's specific to Shadow HQ under the studio.
I'm sure we can come to some arrangement, Mr. Foster. We can help each other.
She must be a spy.
The one that was leaked.
Authorized and sent by Colonel Foster.
That is unfortunate. Oh, it's the holodeck. Maybe he's just having trouble balancing his cover job with his shadow job.
You transmitted this 3 days ago.
Well, yes. Well, I did mention his Alec Freeman.
Did you talk about it to anyone else?
I love the setting.
There's been another security leak. It
What?
concerned a routine flight from Moonbase.
Who planned and authorized it?
Foster. I feel like someone's framing him.
You realize the penalty for espionage.
Oh no. But I mean, it's all circumstantial. They need more of an investigation, not just boom, trial.
Prosecuting officer may proceed.
Oh no, Jackson is prosecuting?
Espionage.
I mean, I think he's just doing his job. They shouldn't blame Jackson for whatever happens.
The primary circuits are a series of electroscanners positioned in series.
Lieutenant, we'd be grateful if you'd keep the explanation as simple as possible.
Whose handwriting is the coder programmed to accept?
Commander Straker's, Colonel Freeman's, and Colonel Foster's.
The information is then coded and transmitted automatically.
This is actually really interesting because they brought up a point about why are you using handwritten things in an electronic age? And it's kind of strange, but handwritten is more secure. You write it down, you know that you wrote it. You can hand carry it somewhere to a specific person, put it in their hands. They could read it and then shred it, burn it, whatever. It's gone. No record at all. No footprint. I think it was one of my colleges, as I recall, they had that policy of when you first arrived and you had to give your social security number, you hand wrote it for them to run through and check for security reasons. In a meeting like this, when you have physical documents like you see on the table there, the reason for that is an electronic copy is too vulnerable. Anyway, my point is, I'm glad that they brought this up specifically because it shows that the writers or someone involved in the show thought this through because it was made in an era that was not an electronic era. And they were just envisioning the future and they were so accurate.
How could you check the content of the transmission? Isn't it printed out in code? And isn't it necessary to use a computer run to decode it?
So it couldn't have been decoded, is what they're trying to say. Well, I mean, unless they had some other way of doing it.
So neither you nor any of your crew could have leaked the information.
Oh dear, this is looking bad. Normally, we're pretty happy that Jackson is good at his job, but right now...
As a man, my opinions are private.
Therefore, no concern of this hearing. As
Oh.
Colonel Foster's superior officer, I'm interested in facts, not guesses.
Not sure if this is helpful or not.
Commander, you will see that I was one of the examining officers on that report.
Yes, you were.
We can all make mistakes.
There's got to be an explanation.
Excuse me, sir. Carl Mason wants to see you. He said it was very urgent.
Alec, he's like, don't get involved in this. That was cute. I have a feeling your director is going to find you here, though. Where did he go? Oh, poor Straker. He just looks completely defeated. Now, this guy's not doing a good job. I'm sorry.
I therefore do not intend to take up the time of the court with character references for the accused.
Why not?
I call Colonel Foster. Colonel, are you guilty of the charges as stated?
No.
Not guilty. Have you ever passed on classified information to any unauthorized person or persons?
Never.
Not that he knows of.
Did you have a nervous disposition?
You're the psychiatrist.
Please answer my question.
Normally, no.
Are you nervous now?
Yeah, who wouldn't be?
Here's a photostat of your personal bank account. $10,000 was paid in on the 10th.
It's the first I've heard of it.
How do you not notice $10,000 in your bank account? That would be a red flag for me. I've never had $10,000 in my bank account. I'd be like, I think this is the wrong person. Oh, Foster.
How can we find out about it? A Swiss numbered account? You tell me.
It's Yellow Blouse agent person. Oh,
As my commanding officer, do you think I'm guilty?
I don't think so. He looks pretty stricken about this.
All the evidence in that court-martial says yes.
But my gut says no.
If you want a gut reaction, no.
Mm-hmm.
They have found Colonel Foster guilty of the charge as stated.
And we're back to the opening.
I've been trying to talk to you for 3 days.
Everybody has problems.
Wait, he might actually have something he needs to know.
There's a security leak. I hear a rival company are building a replica in his apartment.
What if his apartment is bugged? There's gotta be something.
Why bother? Foster isn't going to need it.
Oh.
What would Foster do?
Environmental therapy. Positive!
Let's take this place apart. Get a group over here.
The jacket's coming off. It's serious.
Here's another one.
Whoa, how many are there?
When this stuff starts transmitting, it receives and records the data.
That's actually kind of brilliant. Yeah.
What do you want? The name and address of the
Alex, like,
client who
really?
bought that electronic peeping Tom.
Would you say Commander Straker has an artistic temperament?
No.
Then why would he have a display like this behind his desk?
I always assumed it's because he's claustrophobic and it makes you feel like you're kind of outside. Whereas if you have this hemmed in office, at least for me, I would eventually just kind of panic.
Maybe it soothes his nerves.
Mm-hmm. Foster. This is not going to help matters. I mean, I can't blame him. He was about to be executed, so I'd be surprised if he didn't try something like this.
I'm not risking the whole organization for one man. It's going to take positive proof of innocence to convince me.
Henderson... Well, the good news is Foster probably knows the area fairly well. And he's wearing brown, so camouflage a bit. I feel like they're kind of deliberately missing, though.
You had an apartment bugged for sound and vision. It belonged to Paul Foster.
This is an acoustic gun.
I have heard of them. Oh, excuse the pun.
I kind of like her.
Unless you sign a confession, somebody is going to die.
He's like, really, guys? Really?
A signed affidavit. Get Henderson.
It's too late.
He'll be fine. He's been shot before. He's the Adam Cartwright of this show.
Which absolutely clears Paul Foster.
Statement?
From an industrial spy.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Foster was guilty of one thing. He worked nights at home. He wrote those orders to Moonbase and Skydiver while a couple of cameras in the wall were taking pictures.
You think I'm a pig-headed cretinous lout, don't you, Straker?
Yeah, it's definitely crossed our minds.
Foster was shot with an anesthetic bullet. Jackson's idea.
Thank you, Jackson. See, I know he'd be fine.
Think I'm a pig-headed cretinous lout, don't you? Think I'm a pig-headed cretinous lout. Think I'm a pig-headed cretinous lout.
That was a fascinating episode. So many twists and turns, and the way they opened it was incredibly compelling. Just, guilty. You have 14 days. And it was looking pretty bad for Foster there. I mean, Jackson was just doing his job, and you saw at the end there, he did his best to keep Foster alive as long as possible. I think he's just kind of intense sometimes. It was really interesting during the trial to find out how some of the top secret equipment works, like feeding in those handwritten cards that check handwriting, how they're kept as a database in the system, but they only release messages in code, so people can't just log into the system and read what everyone sent, and that the handwritten piece was destroyed within the machine as it's transmitted. I just think that's so clever. And that line at the end where Straker is like, he's guilty of one thing, working nights. I also liked that they brought in the film studio again, both in some of the backgrounds to make scenes more visually interesting, like the confrontation between Foster and Straker initially, and they kept walking in front of the screen, showing other scenes. And then, of course, the whole thing is solved because they figure out the film studio was the initial security breach. A lot of times they get so obsessed with the shadow work that the film studio is like, oh, well, it's just our cover. We just sort of ignore it. It's fine. And I think this episode showed, no, you have to pay attention in both locations. It was also interesting how the whole bug system transmitted to a recorder and was activated when he turned on like his plant environment lights. Even though Alec didn't say a lot in this episode, he had some great nonverbal moments, just standing in the background, reacting to things. I also think the actual TV director here had some wonderful moments of showing Freeman and Straker and Foster, but mostly those other two, just like sitting in a chair, just like. You could see how helpless they felt of their friend being convicted for circumstantial evidence just because they couldn't prove otherwise. And the director was unafraid of just zooming in on people sitting in chairs because the actors are so good that they're just completely selling it and you don't need dialogue there. People keep saying in the comments, oh, there's some UFO episodes that are really bad, and I haven't found any yet. I mean, I know there's a lot to go, but so far they've just been really high caliber.